Well, I thought the rat boys were squirrels.
Bitches in the future?
This is Wheel of Fortune, Joe!
Bitcoin is the future.
Cultish fucking psychopaths, fake but they recycle that. Flood is with these lies, we ignore it, then we cycle back. To this anchor, we are caught a time chain, our minds break. In this rabbit hole so deep, we wide up our time frame. We just call it time preference, started with divine presence. Immaculate conception, shit posted is perfection. Dunking on central bankers, modern day money changes. Stone out the temple, got no use for they paper.
Got no use for they paper.
Paper.
Got no use for they paper.
Modern day
money changes.
Welcome to the Defend the Network podcast. I am Eastside Tony, here with my co-producer, Real Richard. And Real Richard wants to get some stuff off his chest on this episode. Richard, why don't you just take it away?
Okay, there you go. Hey, yeah, man. Yeah, I'm just, one thing is, I mean, let's just start off. Hey, how you doing? I'm doing well. But one thing that's bugging me lately is just, I know we're not Ethereum fans or we're not like shitcoiners, but the one thing that's been bugging me a lot lately is this tornado cash thing. And it's coinciding with a lot of news, whether you, the IRS news. I think I brought it up on the first episode we've ever done. I'm like, the IRS is ramping up, and then now it's actually official. They're hiring 87,000 new employees. That's like, fuck. That's like it's a city. They're hiring a city of IRS agents
with guns and whatnot. What else? What they're like armed, use like they can use deadly force. Like, what's going on?
I don't know if that was real. Like somebody said that was fake. I don't know if it's real or not. We're getting DDoS with the amount of information out there, but that ties up with the tornado cash getting sanctioned, tying up with like these things are all coinciding at once. And you know, one thing that's been hitting me lately is, you know how they say shit coins are a test net for Bitcoin. Let's see how these shitcoin responds, and is it worthy of attacking Bitcoin after attacking these shitcoins to see how successful they are? And that's just one thing that's just been hitting me lately. Like, damn, it's a lot to like process. I'm still trying to like wrap my head around like my thoughts.
You kind of skipped out on that audio in the first one. You said shitcoins were a testnet for Bitcoin. What did you say right after that?
I'm like, okay, so you know, it's been a long phrase where they say shitcoins are a testnet for Bitcoin. But if you think about it, for the Treasury or the law enforcement, it's a testnet for them as well. Let's go after NFTs. Let's go after mixing. Let's just call it collaborative transaction services like Tornado Cash. They're going after these shitcoins, almost like a testnet for Bitcoin, like to see how this industry responds to these regulation attacks. And I think it's like a precursor for them to see, is this how Bitcoin is going to respond, or is it anything similar?
Yeah, well, like on our last podcast when I had Morgan Rockwell on, like that's kind of something that I was getting at, where it's like, dude, these people can be, you know, fringe people, you know, we could think that they're fringe people or whatever, you know, but if the government views them like, hey, this guy's coming up with something too good, let's go after that guy. You know what I mean? Or like the same thing with Tornado Cash, where they're like, it kind of was maybe like the low hanging fruit on the protocol, like, you know, grab list for the feds and shit. They're like, let's go after that shit. Yeah, let's go after that thing, right? Like we could take that out for sure. All right. So it's scary on that end, where like it's more of a like that has a chilling effect on the community, right? Like if they hem up Richard because Richard's making too good of music videos that are like, oh, these things are cracking off, you know what I mean? Other people will fucking think twice about making great music videos about Bitcoin, you know, like it has this chilling effect in the dev community, I think. And that's what's more scary to me. So it's like, yeah, I get it. Some of these people are like, oh, that's a shit coin, blah, blah, blah. Good thing that happened. But it's like, dude, if you're fucking cheering on for something like If you understand what the real game is, you wouldn't be cheering this shit on like that. You know what I mean? Like,
No, for sure. Like, yeah, it's like you said, it's a very chilling effect because, I mean, these guys are developing open source software. They get attacked, and the lead developer, or I forgot his name, it's like a 29-year-old dev. He gets arrested. It's like, holy shit! Like, are people gonna stop working on Samurai, Whirlpool? Are people gonna stop working on Wasabi or whatever, Joy Market? And it's just, damn, they're just getting hit.
yeah,
And
it's the same old procedure from the feds, though, right? Like whether you're selling drugs or you're selling fucking code or you're selling land or whatever, like they're gonna hit you up. They're gonna tie you up legally, where you know what I mean. Like your whatever little savings you got are just gonna be gone. You know what I mean because of the legal fees. Like that's it. They don't really want to win the case. They just want to wipe you the fuck out. Like people don't
drag you,
yeah, they just
and bleed you out.
exactly. They're not there yet. Like even then, like even if they can win the case, right? It's still they still want to drag it out. Like that's just the way that they operate, man. And it's fucking scary that a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah, the whole phrase, they say Bitcoin is inevitable. And I really believe that. Like, I mean, this is a set of rules, but Bitcoiners are not inevitable. Like, I think I've had this thought for a while, like all this KYC and this early process of Bitcoin, like we're almost low key utopians. Like like Bitcoin fixes this, all these memes. And then I do think Bitcoin is going to realign incentives, but a lot of Bitcoiners are not going to make it to the other side. We're almost going to be like the mince meat for for the brighter future orange world. And yeah, this recent news of this whole tornado cash, IRS agents ramping up, it's all coinciding, and I'm just like, just got to make yourselves more anti-fragile and strengthen yourselves physically, spiritually, financially.
I totally agree, man. Like, what do you think would be a threat vector, though? Like, how do you think they? So my understanding of the tornado cash thing is like they kind of have like an identifier, right? So that it hooks them to their transactions. So do we, right? In the Bitcoin UTXO set, but like, how can Bitcoin, eat that shit? Like,
Well, one thing is we do have a strong culture of running our own nodes, coding our own keys. I saw in Fura and Alchemy, which is like a big portion of Ethereum's infrastructure. They they just block it. You know what I mean? They just block these addresses. But if you run your own node, hold your own keys, and broadcast your own transactions, there's nothing stopping. There's nothing stopping you from doing what you want to do. I'm just thinking about it from the perspective of like this dev gets arrested. I mean, like these are individuals, and I guess like you say, this chilling effect is the intended effect to scare other people. But one thing, the biggest thing is running on node, broadcasting your own transactions, verifying your own transactions.
yeah, for me, it's like, yeah, what would who is the government to tell us what was right and wrong right now? Like, what do you mean? Like, I can't.
Dude, yeah,
Like
and
over 10 grand, if it's if it's over 10 grand, then I'm gonna get in trouble. But if it's under 10 grand, I'm not gonna get like what is this line in the sand here?
and what like from a technical perspective, GG always brings this up. Bitcoin is just text, or like it's just text. So when you sanction wallet addresses, what you're doing is you're sanctioning a large number derived from another large number, and so like you're blocking numbers. It's like and I guess it's up to the point of the citizens to either comply or not comply. But I highly recommend everybody comply with the law, or you can get arrested. Disclaimer: comply with the law.
This is not criminal advice. This is not.
But yeah, it's just been bugging me lately, man. And we'll see. Bitcoin is inevitable and gonna survive, but not all Bitcoiners are going to survive. And that's just the news lately. I've just been reflecting on that concept.
I'm thinking about the guy that they arrested. I mean, he went to fucking like North Korea, and then he,
Wait, that's a different guy. That was a couple years ago.
Yeah, but isn't that crazy though? Like, what was that guy thinking? Like, for real?
I think he's very idealistic. His name was Virgil something. He went to North Korea to educate how to use Ethereum. But like, holy fuck, that is very, very.
Oh my!
He's very idealistic, and I guess he's very naive. So I feel I can't feel bad for that one, but that's just naive. It sucks. He's idealistic.
no,
Even though
no,
he's
no.
idealistic for shitcoin.
Play stupid games, win stupid prizes, man. That's definition right there. But it tripped me out. Like, dude, what? And yeah, like I've been a big fan of the DEF CON convention. Like I've never been there, because I don't want to get hacked. But like my buddy that got me into Bitcoin is a big fan of the DEF CON convention. Do you know about that or no?
I know of it. I don't know much, to be honest. I just heard of it. Like these are.
It's just a hacker convention, right? So like anything and everything is gonna get fucking hacked when you go there, and like they have like they have like lock picking areas where they teach you how to lock pick, like old school hacking type shit. Like, and they have like the 1 year they had the voting machines, right? So they had like just straight up voting machines that like from different areas in the country, and then the players would be tasked to go there, like if they're gonna vote, and then just hack the machine, and which they did. You know what I mean? Like easily, they're like, "Oh, this is how I would do it." And then
Hey, here's a tangent. You brought up voting machines, and the old meme, voting on the blockchain. Whatever, that's a scam. But one thing I have learned from Bitcoin is why don't we fucking our voting software? Why isn't that open source on like a GitHub? Where you know what I mean?
They can't manipulate it. Then come on.
I know. I was just saying, like, once I learned about Bitcoin and what open source software, man, I was just like, there was just so much drama about the last election. Not to get too political, there's a lot of drama. But why not just fucking open source that thing?
Yeah, no, the open source software, like Linux and like Ubuntu and stuff, like it changed my life, man, for real. Because the same guy that got me into Bitcoin got me into Linux and open source software, and I just didn't know about it. And like growing up in the Silicon Valley, I'm from San Jose, born and raised, so I had computers my whole life. But there's somewhere like in like '98 ish where like they're you need Microsoft Word to go do your homework. And I was just like, dude, I don't have Microsoft Word. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't even have a computer at that time. But once I did get a computer, then it's like, well, I got to pay $100. Like, and that's when $100 meant something. You know what I mean? Not inflated away like today. Like that's a lot of fucking money back then. And it was basically like, I felt kind of left out, dog. Like, and it's like, dude, this is fucked up. This is just creating a two-class system, like where the technology's there. But if you don't have the fucking ability to get that software, like you with your like video recording, you're right, like your editing and stuff, like your music making software, like dude, if you don't have that software, it's gonna be way fucking harder for you to make the same beats. You could still probably do it, like right. And I didn't even know about the open source software community until my buddy was like, "Yo," because I was a mechanic, right? So like I used to work on cars, work on motorcycles, and he that's how I met him. He was a motorcycle guy. We used to ride together, and he was like, "Yo, if you can, change, an intake on a motorcycle, it's the same thing as changing the GPU card in a computer." And I'm like, what? And he kind of just like phrased it like that for me, and I'm like, oh, yeah. It makes sense. Like, yeah, you're just souping up your computer. You get a regular computer, it's just a base model computer, then you soup it up, and that's what got me opened up into that mind frame. But also the open source software aspect, where it's like, oh well. Yeah, you don't need to buy Microsoft. You could just get this open source stuff, but you need to learn how to compile these files. You need to learn how to actually like build the thing in order for you to drive it. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then like since I was already in like that kind of a mechanic state of mind, I just applied that to computers, dude. And that's where I started taking off. And it was just like one of those things, like, why don't they teach open source stuff in, like, you know what I mean? Like they just teach you Microsoft and they teach you fucking like this closed system. They get you working on apples. Because that's all we had in like middle school, like in the Bay Area or in the Silicon Valley. It was like the Apple IIs in kindergarten, and it was just Apple.
Hey, did you guys have the big old disc and play Oregon Trail? I used to do that shit when I was younger.
I died of this. I died of this.
No, but when I was a teenager and when I learned how to make music, I was taking piano class and I was doing choir. But one thing I did was I learned about torrents, and so. When I was like 13, 14, 15, I was just torrenting all the software to learn how to make music, how to do videos. And it was just torrenting back when I was like a young teen, and then I didn't have any money.
Yeah, no, the open source software to me, like I had an iPad before there was iPads. You know what I mean? Like there was a program for paraplegics that like it it put dots on your eyelids right here, and then it put dots right here, like on the top and bottom of your mouth. So if you open and close your mouth, that was the mouse clicker. And then depending on where you were looking like this, like that's where it would move the mouse, and you can basically control the mouse with your eyes and your mouth. Like what? This is back in like 2005, son. You know
I think that was how like
stuff that just like people just developed like out of love, and they just gave it away for free. Like, here, you guys can use it. Just upload it onto your computer, your Linux Ubuntu setup, and dude, and it was crazy, dude. I was just like, this is awesome, right? And that's what got me primed for like Bitcoin and like the decentralized way of like how it's people just work on it and it's fucking I was set up. So once Bitcoin came, it did take me like 3 years to figure out what the fuck was going on with it. But the whole part of I understood the power of like, dude, people are fucking. This helps everybody. It's the base layer for helping everybody. But also like people are just gonna realize that and start fucking pumping. Working on this project.
For me, it was like through the torrent community. I learned about like this one thing. I don't even know if it's still around, but SoulSeek. And there used to be a couple guys who would share, and this is all peer-to-peer nodes on a network connecting to each other. And I used to love Kanye West a lot, and I would download so many sample records, just download old soul records to chop up samples. And I just wanted to sound like Kanye. So I would go through these SoulSeek communities where these guys would rip vinyl, host it, share it, and all the nodes would download a copy of it and share it as well. And so we would just download a bunch of old ripped vinyl records, these soul records, and then we would just share it in a community of people who wanted to sample it to sound like Wu-Tang and Kanye and Jay-Z and them. And so that was part of my learning experience, peer-to-peer, and that was with music.
People forgot, like, I mean, I don't want Dr. Age, but I'm almost 40, and it's like, dude, there's huge gaps in like internet knowledge, like just general knowledge. Like, dude, that's like that was a standard back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, you had to wait days.
It's a gift and a curse, man, because the Apple ecosystem, like these kids are growing up on iPads, right?
But we're going back to Apple, bro. Fuck these crap.
But it's super easy, right? It's super easy. Like, this is where I watch videos. I hit YouTube. But to be honest, like you said, like these are walled gardens in a sense. I hit the YouTube button, or if I wanted to, like all my little nephews and nieces, they play Roblox or whatever. Like, this is the gaming area. They click Roblox or whatever, and it's all. And so they're kind of forgetting like what you're talking about, like that open source. You're building it. You're building it from scratch, and
So this is kind of what got me back into the internet, quote unquote, community, which is like I wanted to provide content, but then it's the whole problem is like the gatekeeping of the content. Like, these motherfuckers make money off of you no matter what, kind of, right? Like, which is cool. Like, I understand, they're providing a service, but it's the rug pulling of, YouTube did it to their, you said you were a big YouTube guy back in the day, so I know what I'm talking about. But like back in the day, maybe you can explain, before the adpocalypse type shit, Richard, a little bit better, because I was just getting into the game when the adpocalypse hit. So it was just like, what's going on? Like, it just changed the complete landscape of, YouTube used to be powered, but like kind of open source, right? Like by its, not the real.
The content was open source. Yeah. The content was open source. So it's just the users provide the content.
Yeah, it got rug pulled, right? Like that's.
It got rug because the app. I left the YouTube game as soon as it was getting hot too. So I'm in a similar boat to you, but I was deep into the just wanting to make videos and music on YouTube. But the ad game, I guess these advertisers just don't want to be associated with certain content, and because it's politically unfeasible. And so
that goes back to my Bitcoin handcuffs, which is basically golden handcuffs, right? Like, I just, fuck gold, so I call it Bitcoin handcuffs.
I mean, that's a sponsorship model, right? If your sponsors don't want you to say something and you want to eat from them, you better shut up.
Pfizer does not approve defendant now.
You going there, huh?
Nah, whatever. Like, the reason I wanted to make this content because of Adam Curry and the podcasting 2.0. So you were talking about these Apple like gated walls, right? And that's what Adam Curry did. Like he was just on the What Is Money podcast. So
Oh, I gotta listen to that.
I suggest everybody listen to that one because it really gives a background of who the fuck Adam Curry is. And you know, he's a big role model for me, right? Like I met him in Austin or whatnot, and I just think he's super cool dude. And he's one of these boomers that like he made it, but he's like, dude, I'm sorry, dude, I fucked this up for all y'all.
Yeah.
Meaning like he understands. It's like, dude, we're fucked. Like not, you know, we got to work harder, is basically. And a lot of boomers just, you know, they're really arrogant about that. I think, you know, and it's kind of upsetting. It's been upsetting me for a while.
You remember over the last couple of years, we've been having this meme, the "Okay Boomer" meme, right? Okay Boomer, right? And I've been thinking, I've been thinking about this, and tongue in cheek, I said Bitcoin fixes this. But the reason why they even say this "Okay Boomer" is because there's like this underlying dissent between the older generation today. Today, these kids have it harder. Today, to own a home, it's a lot more expensive. And imagine a world where human productivity increases and it's mapped out by Satoshi. So let's say you buy a home for 10 million Satoshis. Your kid buys a home when he's of age, 8 million Satoshis. That kid, her kids buy a home when it's like 5 million Satoshis. So imagine a world where each generation has it easier, buying things cheaper. And so instead of saying, okay, boomer, you say, well, thank you for being great stewards of this earth and providing me a better platform to like construct a future on. And that is a very prosperous and like the opposite of the meme, okay, boomer, because it's funny to say, okay, boomer. But to me, it was driving at something much deeper, which is like this dissent between these two generations. And I think it closes that gap. In a futuristic Bitcoin world, I'm thinking way far out.
No, I mean I don't think it's too far out because I mean we're right there. Like I said, I'm almost 40 and I'm in a union and the guys in the union, like they're just thinking differently, man. They've been conditioned to the last snapshot of the snapshot of the last 50 years of economic progress. Like that's all they see. You gotta understand from their point of view, right? Like so just forward yourself like 10, 20 more years. You're like, fuck, I only got 10 more years to retire. You know what I mean? Like you don't want anything to rock that boat. You just want to have you want to just have steady work so your math will work out. You know what I mean? Like because you did let's say you were one of the smart ones who actually did the math on your retirement scenario, right? Like because some guys they're like, oh whatever, and they like don't invest as much in their retirement, and they're like, dude, you can never retire, really. Like there's a point. You know,
no, I know what you mean.
We were talking about welding two different pieces together at the meetup last time, right? And it's like if you're not in that range, if that cold energy is sucking so much energy from that initial piece, which is your retirement, like that cold inflation energy is just sucking too much money from your retirement, you're never going to be able to fucking weld those pieces.
Dude, imagine
Going to be able to.
are you saying this? I was feeling kind of sad, legit, because imagine, like you said, you're doing this math for the next 10 or 20 years. You hope nothing rocks the boat. But as you do the math, you're like, all right, this checks out. But every month your spending has to increase because you're buying less things with whatever you're like. The math is gonna fuck these people up.
11th grade math, bro. That a lot of people just fucking way fast. Like it's fit. Like I was telling the guy, that's the difference between physics and actual like shit you got to deal with in real life versus monetary policy which you just fucking make up like whatever this ain't working, we're just gonna change the theory like what no I can't change the theory when I'm trying to fucking weld two pieces of metal together. You know what I mean? Like, it's either gonna fucking work because I heat it up to the proper temperature range, and if I don't expend that energy, it's never
gonna freezing up on me.
It's never gonna fucking work.
Okay, you're back.
All right, so what else is cracking, man? I'm over here, and that's fucking with me. I'm going too hard.
Yeah, they're trying to bother you, bro. No, but since you brought up the whole retirement thing and the math, yeah, that kind of just messed me up because I just have a lot of relatives that just bust their ass, and you know guys in the union, they're busting their ass, but they're gonna get rug pulled.
I mean, it's I called it oh shit, you still there? Uh-oh. My internet connection. You there?
All right. Yeah, I'm back.
I didn't talk for a while. You kind of froze up. Anyway, it was me. Probably.
Yeah, I froze up.
All right. So no, I call it Ponzi 104, right? Because it's my local union 104, and like, dude, I really like the union. Like, it really helped me out in my life. You know what I mean? So it's but a lot of people fucking drink the Kool-Aid, man, and they don't understand. It's the same thing as debt, where there's more debt than there is work. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So it's like, to me, it's like, okay, well, I see how it works out. You start off as a pre-apprentice, and it's just math at that point, where it's like, you're so cheap, they don't give a fuck. You don't need to know nothing. Let's just put you to work. We can make you work. You see what I'm saying? You're just a body. Like, it's literally, you're just a matrix. Right? You're just somebody. And then you got to work to get in. There's tests you have to get in, right? There's math tests. So some guys don't even pass that. So they stay pre-apprentices for fucking life, right? Like, it's like, it's like a 6-year senior type shit. Like, okay, which is cool. Some people want to do that, whatever. And
It's
just,
like
for point of reference,
maybe it was similar.
for point of reference, they're paying like $22 to start. Like, you can you can be a bum off the street, dude. If you can get to work, $22 an hour here in the Bay Area, which is crazy, right? Like, people are getting paid fucking 30, 25 somewhere else. And then even then, like, just the other day, my boss was telling me, he's like, dude, we had to lay off like X amount of, because once you get in the union, then it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth year. It's a 5-year program. And then you get raises every 6 months. You get raises, like, it's in your contract. And then you just basically, it's a stepping thing, right? But guys are dropping out like first, second year because they can't afford to get to work, right? Because they live up the valley, and like, you know what I mean? And it's like, think about it. If you're working at Safeway getting like $30 an hour, and you're like, fuck, I need to drop, $10 or whatever, like $8 to go fucking work as a pre-apprentice. And then you're going to work as a pre-apprentice for a while. And then you still you gotta rank in when you test. These tests are all ranked. So you can be fucking, on the books for a while, because you're just like, smarter people are coming in and they can just test above you. Or, I mean, it's kind of weighted. So if you've been working, they kind of help you out. But it's crazy, because these guys are dropping out of the program, and it's like, they just literally can't afford to get to work. So this scheme is kind of breaking apart now, because like, I'm, like I said, born and raised in San Jose, and thank God my parents live around here, and like, they help me out because I rent one of their spots. But like, other people, they have to move out. You know what I'm talking about. You live local.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, when I first came back, to the city, what's crazy was I was going to like a cell phone store, I was replacing a phone, and then I see a car just full of clothes, and then I've been seeing this repeatedly, but then and there's a gym at this mall where I was replacing a cell phone, and then I asked my brother, and I was like, "What's going on here?" He's like, "Oh yeah, some people, the car is their freaking closet." And their gym is a shower, the place where they shower, and that's cheaper than renting. And so, and it's not going to get any cheaper anytime soon, at least not in the Fiat standard.
I mean, my pops actually did that shit. Like, back when he first immigrated to America, he would like he would just fucking live out of his car, and he's like, yo, the smartest thing I ever did when I was homeless was get a gym membership. I don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, dude. I go work out in the morning. Wake up, go work out, go take a shower, go to work. Do my work hours, come back, take a shower, work out, take a shower again, go to sleep in my car. And I'm like, if you can swing it like that, it's single young man, you know what I mean, back in the day. I mean, it sucks living out of your car, but knowing that you can achieve something if you really set your mind to it, right? Like, it's hard for sure, but like, that's something that, like, hey, you can dig a hole, or you can stop digging and try to work your way out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hopefully, Bitcoin.
So let's tie this back into Bitcoin. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Where are you going with the Bitcoin tangent? With this?
No, I'm just saying. Hopefully, Bitcoin, cures all these problems. Bitcoin can fix this, right?
Yeah.
There's all these.
Yeah, exactly. Because let's say you do have to live in a car and you save, and let's just say you can only save 5% a month. That's more than going negative and just furthering yourselves into debt. Like, and on this standard, the treadmill is like the treadmill just gets longer and longer under the fiat standard, and you're just falling further down, and the incline keeps increasing. Well, under the Bitcoin standard, that incline just drops, and this is where I was tying it into that okay boomer meme. You know, if it flips the paradigm on its head, it's savers that get rewarded, and it's not better or worse. It's just who are the winners and losers in different financial systems. And in the Bitcoin world, savers are rewarded. In the fiat world, you have to be smart with your debt, and it's a lot trickier, and it's a lot of financial gains, and yeah, a lot of noise.
Well, the whole thing with the fiat world is you gotta have a financial fucking manager, right? Like, or you gotta make your money work more than the inflation percentage that's compounding every year, and like that's the fucking game where like it forces you to do to into their proof of stake game, right? Where it's like, oh, we'll buy this land and prove that you're staking, stake your money in this land, and then the percentage or sorry, the value of this land will increase. It's like, dude, what? Like, what? Why can't I just fucking save my money and my money just
Yeah,
stay the same? Like, what? Like,
but now you can. But
nobody
now you can.
exactly, but nobody understands this, right? So, I guess it's teaching. Going back to the first principles of just teaching what is like good money, and like, what are you really doing? This is storing your energy and time, and like preserving your time for the future, right? Because if you can't preserve your time for the future, then what the fuck is good is it?
Yeah, you know, it's actually like you said that preservation of time. Like, let's say you do work for the union today, and you do good work, and you make people's lives better because of your good work. You know, under a Bitcoin standard, technically, if you hodl those satoshis you earned welding or doing whatever it is you did, and you did good work, and you saved people time and brought value to the world, you could call upon that time in 2022, in like 5 centuries from now, 6 centuries from now, a millennia from now. And so when they say store of value, or when they say like Bitcoin is time, or like time preservation, that's what it really means. Like when I was 15, I used to work at a car wash, and or not 15, I was like 17. I used to work at a car wash, and I used to get paid $50 a weekend. Today, and that was like two 8-hour days. I was getting paid cash. But today, if I call upon that time I put, you know, spending washing cars in the hot ass sun, I'm not gonna get much for the amount of effort I put in. But in the Bitcoin world, but if Bitcoin existed then, and I held that time, or you could even hold it to, I don't know, a century from then, 2 centuries from then, because Bitcoin doesn't dilute. There's no leakage in Bitcoin. And so these concepts of store of value really stretches out your imagination what that does to a person.
Yeah, like a lot of the construction guys get it just because they're literally doing proof of work to get paid, in dollars. And my whole thing when I asked them was like, well, what is a dollar? What is a dollar but your proof of work, right? You spend 40 hours a week, you get paid X amount of dollars, right? Like, and then what happens, right? Like, what happens after that? Let's say you just keep it, then you get inflated away, and like, since we do construction, there's a lot of math going on. Like, they kind of understand the math right off top, where they're like, "Holy shit, you're right." And I'm like, we work with heating and air conditioning systems, so it's like if there was a 2% leak in your refrigerant system,
Yeah.
2% per minute. How many minutes until 100% is gone? Right? So
Yeah, they understand half lives, like the productive class, people who actually, like you said, the people who put in proof of work, they can conceive of it easier.
yeah, and it's just because there's physical barriers. Like, you can't just fudge the numbers here. Like, oh, there's a 2% leak. Oh, well, we're just gonna pump 2% in, fucking magically somehow. Like, what? No, that's what the Fed's doing, right? It's like, wait, what? How are you guys controlling the supply? What? No, yeah, it's like you can snuff out the bullshit a little bit easier. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of times too where like the working man, the blue collar man, is like, oh, that fucking engineer, and then the engineer. Like, there's always beefs, right, between the boss
Yeah.
and the engineers, because the engineers just think they know better, and it's like, tomatoes are thrown on both sides, right? So it's not like one's better than the other, but it's just hilarious because the guy's like, no, I do this every fucking day, and then the way that they write it on paper, just not the way it's gonna fucking work out. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's the what do you call it? The intellects or whatever. What do you call it?
Intellectual yet idiots. IYI.
It's the book people versus the street smart people.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, there's a common ground for sure, and nobody's better than the other. But it's just funny how like that happens, and in the financial world, so you can just fuck with the numbers and just fuck my numbers are off. Let me just sit into that little cubby. Like no, it's not gonna work like that.
And like how you said, the guys in your union, they took a snapshot of the last 50 years and they're kind of projecting to the future. A lot of these book people, academics, people who are so disconnected from reality, where all they interact with is spreadsheets and numbers on a piece of paper, or they just push papers, they're really disconnected from reality. And they think these words mean something, but, like whether it's paper money or words written on paper, like we're headed into a fourth turning. To tie back to even the beginning, new IRS agents, tornado cash, all these things, like reality is going to catch up to the to the academics, or you know what I mean? And then let's see how these things collide.
Yeah, it's you can only kick the can down the road for so long, right? And I guess it's ever since 1971, right? It's been a different standard. And we were running off that petrodollar, and the petrodollar just fucking ended right now. And what? When did it end? I think.
Well, people have been claiming that when they froze Russian reserve assets.
Correct. Yeah, I mean that's definitely like, why would you want to invest with the West now? Like they're just going to be the big.
But where else do you go? It's like
Bitcoin.
There's a lot of inertia. I know, but for a lot of people, they can't just go to Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, I mean that's we need to grow the network, correct?
Yeah, for sure. We just got to slowly build it out and allow people to get on. Yeah, and we'll win over time. Like Bitcoin just got to survive. As long as it survives and nothing breaks, because the old system is breaking itself. You don't need to do anything. Just survive.
So 2-minute mark coming up. Any final thoughts here?
Yeah, like how we started it off. Let's make yourself stronger, less fragile, become more anti-fragile. Learn from Bitcoin. That's how I've been trying to frame it in my own personal life. Okay, gotta learn from Bitcoin. Gotta be able to survive and get to the other side. Because after seeing this tornado cash stuff and IRS agents ramping up, I'm like, really ask myself, am I gonna make it to the other side if the shit heats up? And being realistic. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's always going to be a market for Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, there's still a market for Beanie Babies. Come on, dude.
No, I'm not talking about financially. I know Bitcoin's going to win, but I'm talking about us getting to the other side in a world where Bitcoin is the standard.
Yeah, well, that's keep your nose clean and, cross your T's and dot your I's. Just be careful about what you say when you say it. It sucks thinking about that, but you still have to think about, like, people are trying to set you up out here. You know what I mean? Like, without putting on my freaking tinfoil hat, just be careful out there, dude. Because every Bitcoiner that's out there might not be, they might seem friendly, but they might not be. You know what I mean? So, you never know. That's all I'm saying. You never know.
Yeah.
Watch what you do out there. Yeah. So sorry to leave this so grim, but Jesus Christ, I'm just saying I don't want to see anybody fucking hemmed up in prison, man.
Yeah.
This is not criminal advice.
Yeah, comply with your local regulations and laws.
All right, we're just gonna leave it at that, y'all.
Yeah.
This rip, defend the network, y'all. Peace.
Peace.
Bitcoin is the future.
Cultish fucking psychopaths, fake but they recycle that. Flood is with these lies, we ignore it, then we cycle back. To this anchor, we are caught at times, chain our minds break. In this rabbit hole so deep, we wind up our time frame. We just call it time preference, started with divine presence. Immaculate conception, shit posted is perfection. Dunking on central bankers, modern day money changes, all my dependence.